So we'll talk about that. Let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles playing each other in the NFC Championship game. The story of Brock Purdy continues, Puma. Like this, I feel like isn't getting enough love. It's just kind of like mellow there in the background. But imagine if Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl. Like, what kind of Cinderella story is that? Like, the guy's going to get like a book deal, a Disney movie made out of him, Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, quite the Cinderella story. So, is that Cinderella story going to unfold, Puma, or are the Eagles going to stomp that out?
I hate to be the wet mop, Jay.
Same here.
I think the clock is going to strike midnight. And here's the thing. Brock Purdy's been a fantastic story. Mm-hmm. And if he wins a Super Bowl, that's, I'm not taking any, hear me out, Jay. I'm not taking anything away from Tom Brady. But the fact that he was literally Mr. Irrelevant to winning a Super Bowl, like that is friggin' incredible. But I'm thinking the clock strikes midnight, and I think the Eagles are going to roll in this game. The spread's Eagles minus 2.5. It's juiced a little bit to minus 115. Maybe this gets to 3. If it gets to 3, I might look at the 49ers on the spread. The money line is Eagles minus 145. But give me the Birds. They're at home. They're at the Link, and I know Brock Purdy played in Seattle, on Thursday night. It was his first real road test. Air quote road test in the NFL with the 12s. But I mean, we can all agree the Link, Lincoln Financial Field is literally like the madhouse. Like there's no environment like it. Like the batteries are coming. They threw snowballs at Santa Claus. Like they don't care. Like, I mean, Jay, like before it was Lincoln Financial Field and it was Veteran Stadium, they had a jail cell in the vet. Cell. Like wow. This is the madhouse, on Broad Street type of deal. But the Eagles are hitting on all cylinders here. And I think honestly, if Jalen Hurts didn't get hurt, he would be the slam dunk MVP. I think he still has a puncher's chance, but personally, I don't think he's going to win the award. I think somehow it'll go to Mahomes or whoever, but or even Joe Burrow. For that being said, because it's the hottest team in the NFL right now. But with all that being said, I just like the weapons a little bit more for the Eagles. I think they're going to be able to pass the ball on the San Francisco 49ers defense. You're not going to see this in the box score last week because of how bad Dak was, and we're going to get to that a little bit later in the show. But if Dak was a little bit more accurate in that game against the 49ers, it might be a little bit of a different result. Like he was missing people, he threw 2 interceptions, but the 49ers will give up yards to the receivers. Personally, I think we're in line for a get-right game for A.J. Brown. I think this is going to be the Devonta Smith game. He's kind of been the number 1 wide receiver down the stretch for this team. I think, Dallas Goedert might be a little bit limited in his production just because the 49ers are good against the tight end with their defensive schemes. And the other thing, too, Jay, is Kyle Shanahan is probably one of the best offensive minds the NFL has ever seen. Nobody's disputing that. I am not taking anything away from Kyle Shanahan. However, going back all the way to his Atlanta Falcons days, and we saw it in the NFC Championship game last year, and we've seen it in the Super Bowl when they played the Chiefs a couple of years ago. Kyle Shanahan has a tendency to play a little bit too tight and a little bit too conservative down the stretch, and that has always kind of snake bit them in the end. And I get it. Mr. Glass, a.k.a. Jimmy Garoppolo, is not under center. Brock Purdy is. But with that being said, it's Purdy, the Mr. Irrelevant rookie, on the road against the Link. Like, if they have a lead, maybe he starts playing super conservative. He makes a mistake with the football. The Eagles capitalize, and then all that momentum swings back to the Philadelphia side, and the train might get out of control at that point. But give me the Eagles. I'm laying the 2.5 as one of my best bets of the week.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you, man. I think the Eagles are going to win, and the Eagles are just a machine, man. Simply put, like, defense, offense, special teams, every single, like, part of that team is just a machine. They're clicking on all cylinders, they're well-oiled, and I think it's going to be a hard ask to ask Brock Purdy going into the link and beat this Eagles team. Now, when I was looking at this game, I was thinking, well, how do I see the 49ers winning this game? Like, can they, would they win an ugly game? Would they win in a shootout? And any way I slice it, I just don't see them beating the Eagles. Like, I really don't. Whether it's an ugly game or a shootout, I just think the Eagles are better equipped to beat them. Now, on the 49ers side, like, they should have lost that game. I'm not gonna lie to you. The game they played against the
no
Cowboys,
doubt they should have lost.
If it wasn't for Dak Prescott being Dak Prescott and throwing 2 interceptions, like, they should have lost that game. It was probably one of their worst performances in the past, like 8-9 games, right? So I just think that the top to bottom, the Eagles are a better team. I think it's a great story with Brock Purdy, but this is, like you said, the clock's gonna strike midnight, man.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw this, against the Cowboys. Like, that pass rush was getting home, and I understand Trent Williams is an absolute beast. He handled the pass rush from Micah Parsons, perfectly. But when they moved Parsons to the other side of the line, I mean, he pulled out a vintage Reggie White, bull rush move and had McGillicuddy on his ass. And it's going to be interesting to see how this defensive line for the Eagles shapes up, because I believe they are the top defense in sack rate in the NFL right now. And one of the 49ers players, I believe it's in Wenyu, he was just pinched for a misdemeanor domestic assault.
Oh, really?
Or today. So I think it was earlier in the morning. I think TMZ broke the story. So, like, I understand it's the NFL. Like, they're probably not going to discipline him right away because it's an open case. But, like, his status is possibly questionable for this game, and he had 2 sacks against Dak Prescott. I think this offensive line for the Eagles is going to be able to withstand the Boses and the Armsteads of the world. But just give me the Birds. And I know it's painful to watch Nick Sirianni from time to time in his reactions on TV. But I think this is going to be. I think the Eagles are clearly the better team, in my opinion.
Yeah.